Hello everyone, welcome to Bikini Design Club. Today we will be sewing our Tulum bikini top. You can download the patterns at bikinidesignclub.com. So today we will be using our pattern. So we have a back piece pattern and also the front piece pattern, and we will need our self fabric, our linen fabric. I will be using the black as a linen, and then of course scissors, cutter, rubber elastic, clips, pins, and of course the sewing machines. In this case our pattern doesn't have any folds, so you put directly on your self fabric and also on your linen fabric, and you cut the entire front and the entire back. But today I made a huge mistake. I let it stay in my video and I edited with the mistake, so that I'm sure that you all realize that, okay, we all made mistakes. So maybe you can learn with my mistake and please don't do it. So I will let you know what I'm doing wrong. So once you cut your front piece, and that's fine, you just put the pattern as I'm doing it, and you cut the entire piece. And you do the same for the self fabric. Until now, everything is fine. But when you go to the back piece, you have to take in consideration that you want your self fabric facing outwards. And in this case, the front is cut so that the top will be on my left shoulder. And my mistake was cutting the fabric for the back for my right shoulder. So you will see, and I will let the video go because all the procedures and the orders in which I sew all the top are correct, except I did the cut of the fabric for the back wrong. In the end of the video I corrected. I had to cut and remake my back and sew it again, but here is the procedure to complete this sewing pattern. So you are seeing me cutting my back. You see that the self fabric is facing up on the table and I'm cutting to the wrong shoulder. So make sure you check that you're cutting your back according to the side of the shoulder that you have cut at the front, okay? So now let's prepare our pieces. So you can see it clearly that I cut it wrong, but let's move on. So let's prepare our back piece. Right sides facing together for the self fabric and the linen, pin under the arm, on your back, and in the bottom of your top. Leave the sides open and sew, placing the elastic, don't forget, on top of your self fabric. I always start by sewing 1 centimeter without elastic in the beginning and also in the end. I give some small cuts on the elastic to enable me to do the curve better, so it stays flat once it's on the correct side. So now we have our back piece ready, so let's put it apart and move on to our front piece. So right sides facing together again, and let's pin all the areas that we are going to sew. That's under the arms and on your cleavage. Don't sew on the sides and don't sew on the lower part of the top. You have many different ways that you can do this top, as always, but of course this is the way I do it and the way I'm letting you know that it's easier for me. So some details, you see me, of course, I've told you before, cutting small pieces of the elastic to enable me to do the curves better. And you also see me doing straight stitch on the ends of the sewing. And that's because I want to make sure that my stitches are perfect and my finishes are perfect. Now that we've done the both areas that we prepared with the pins, we leave 0.5 centimeter in this area without sewing. And why? Because since we are going to place these two vertical or diagonal together, we are going to unite them. I'm going to cut a little bit because I sewed too much, and I want to make sure that I can attach them correctly, so I need 0.5 centimeter available for the sewing. So we will do this top part. Let's concentrate on uniting the top in that area. So I'll start removing a little bit of thread because I went too far with my straight stitch, because as I told you before, I want to leave 0.5 centimeter free to unite both sides of the top part. So now let's sew the top part, but do not do this like this, in this position. Let's unfold the top to the correct side. Once we do this, we have to do the sewing like if it was a ring or a sleeve, or like a ring, I think. So you should put your outside fabric, your self fabric, right sides facing together in this area, and very carefully and calmly you should pin or hand sew. I do a lot of hand sew in this area to make it perfect, and we will prepare these fabrics with pins and hand sewing. I start by the place where my fabric has the seams, and I put the seams towards the linen side, and that, in this area it's where I'm gonna start with a hand stitch, and then I do some pins. I'm gonna do it calmly to make sure that everything is nice and on the correct place before going to the overlock or straight stitch machine. So now we are finally ready to go to our overlock or straight stitch machine. In this case, it's as you prefer. So we have all the areas pinned and with the hand stitch where I've told you before. So let's sew. So as you can see, I'm doing it very calmly and moving 1 centimeter at a time, and then I turn around the fabric and I do it twice so that I'm sure it's secure. I used my zigzag stitch. I went back again and did it twice because I want to make sure that my stitches are secure and my outside finish, once it's done, it's very pretty. Of course, this is optional, and if you do it on your overlock, maybe you don't need it, but this is my preference for these small detailed parts of the top. So we've done the zigzag stitch. I prefer going with the straight stitch machine, in this case with the zigzag, because with the overlock this is too hard for me to do. So I went twice with the zigzag and straight stitch just a little bit here to make sure that all the area is secure. So now let's do the bottom part of our front. Very simple. This part you already know, I believe. So we just do like this, we pin, and we go to our machine and we sew all this area. I always like to give a little bit of tension to the elastic under the bust, and it's because for the volume, once it's on, you will see it's much better if you do this small trick. So now let's put to the correct side, to the outside, and let's attach the back part to the front part. Never mind again that I'm using the wrong back parts. Don't forget, I'm still using the wrong. I did it until the end. I only realized once it was ready, but never mind. So what I'm doing is I'm hand stitching my seams to make sure they stay flat and exactly where I want them. Once I will tuck them inside my back parts with right sides facing together. In this case, I believe that some of you will not need to do this, but it's an option. At this stage, I realized that maybe if you want, you can leave the lower part of your back without being sewed, so it's easier for you to insert the front part through your back. But that's an option because I insert it through the sides. Don't worry when you do this if you see that this is not perfectly aligned. That's not a problem. I'm going to show you. You see that it's not perfectly aligned, and on the back also. That's not a problem because when we are going to fit this inside the other part, the back part, we will sew over there and this will all disappear, and so that's not a problem. Let's use the sides and let's insert our top, our front, inside the back part, and we pull this here inside, and we are gonna pin, and maybe I will hand stitch also to keep it in place, and then we will do that part. So as I told you before, I'm inserting through the sides, but if you want, unsew or don't sew in the beginning the lower part of your back top, so it's easier for you to insert the front in the back. It's an option. So I've placed on the correct place, and now let's use our straight stitch machine and do our top. You will be sewing through 4 layers of fabric, so make sure you are sewing the 4 layers of fabric. When I do this, I always do a diagonal to make sure that my threads from the overlock are secure, because I like to trim like I'm doing here, and to be able to trim the threads and to be sure that this will not unfold later on, I always, with my straight stitch machine, do like a diagonal, making sure that my overlock stitches are secure. So now let's prepare our sides, and let's do exactly as we did on the top part. So we will be sewing over 4 layers of fabric. I'm gonna hand stitch and secure the seams on the correct places, pin and sew both sides of the top. But before I do that, once this is done, you will need a hole to unfold the top to the correct side. So with a pencil, I choose one of the sides. I draw the 2 lines in the area where I will want to make a hole, and instead of cutting directly, I reinforce the outside areas, these areas, with my straight stitch machine to make sure that, again, the threads are secure and they are not gonna unfold later on when using the top. So now let's trim, cut the hole that we've prepared, and our top would be ready. Well, but mine isn't ready, because this is when I realized that my back were wrong. So you will see me very fast here in the video, cutting and redoing the back part all over again. This time I only sewed the sides of the back and not the bottom parts, so it was quite easier for me to insert the front part through the back parts. And I believe it's the best way, because it's much easier. If you decide to do that, then to finish, you just have to do the bottom part, and then you do the sides and the hole, of course. The best part about this top is that despite it's very asymmetric, it's still very comfortable and sexy at the same time. You can do some activities at the beach and feel safe. It's reversible, so here is the final result in the self fabric and also with the linen, the black. This was actually a size M, so it's too big for me, but here is one I did for me in my size, and also reversed sides. Hope you liked it. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Bye!